What's good, people? Another round of Premier League predictions this coming weekend. I go by the name of Flicks, and before I crack on with today's Premier League predictions, if you're new to my channel right now, make sure to hit that subscribe button, have your say in the comment section, smash a like. But is your team playing this weekend? And if they are, who are they playing? Do you expect them to win, lose, or possibly draw this coming weekend? Are they fighting a relegation battle, or do they want a top European spot for next season? So please have your say on that one as well. Let's crack on with this weekend's Premier League predictions. Come on. So Saturday, the early kickoff, Newcastle versus my team Tottenham, 12:30 kickoff. The last time Spurs played at St James's Park, we all know what happened. It was an absolute embarrassment. Tottenham Hotspur lost 6-1, and that was back in April 23. Honestly, it was just an absolute embarrassment that day. Fingers crossed it won't happen again. I'm positive, very, very positive that won't happen again. For one, we've got Ange Postecoglou, who has worked wonders so far. Because let's face it, when this guy took over, I was expecting Spurs to be, or by the end of the season, to be at least mid-table. And for another one, we lost Harry Kane, the best striker in the league at the time. And all them goals, I'm thinking, this is going to be an absolute downfall. But like I said, Ange has worked wonders. He's recruiting players, brought in players that he wanted. And there's still players that he does want. And it's a very, very long process. And fingers crossed, so far it's working wonders. We're still fighting for a top 4 finish. We've only about 7-8 games to go. But going on to this Newcastle game. And for Newcastle, by the way, they're not a false compared to last season. If I remember right, they lost only like 4 or 5 games last season, finishing 4th, getting that Champions League spot. But this season it has been a very, very topsy-turvy one for them. So my predicted scoreline at St James's Park, I'm going to say Newcastle 1, Tottenham Hotspur 2. And then we move on to Brentford, Sheffield United, 3 p.m. kickoff. Surprising one, this, when I looked up the stats. Sheffield United are unbeaten in the last 5 meetings against Brentford. This time around, I can't see it. Yes, Sheffield United, they've done very, very well against Chelsea last weekend, picking up a point. But Brentford, I can see them winning this one. So if I'm going to say a scoreline, I'm going to say Brentford 2, Sheffield United 1. And then we move on to Burnley and Brighton, another 3 p.m. kickoff. This was a 1-1 draw in the last meet between these two. And Burnley, again, another team in the relegation. Brighton lost last weekend to Arsenal. And I can see Brighton getting back to winning ways this weekend. So if I'm going to say a scoreline for this one, I'm going to say Burnley 0, Brighton 2. Then we move on to Man City versus Luton, 3 p.m. kickoff as well. The last time these two teams played was in the FA Cup, where Man City actually won 6-2. So I have to go for another Man City win because you know, they're unstoppable right now. The likes of Phil Foden, banging in the goals. Even done it a few nights ago in the Champions League, banging in the goals. For this one, being at home as well, home advantage for City, I'm going to say Man City 3, Luton 0. And then we move on to Nottingham Forest and Wolves. Nottingham Forest, another team down there, pretty much fighting a relegation battle themselves. The last time these guys met, it was, well, they pretty much drew their last 2 games. So for me, I was edging towards a Wolves win, but when I was thinking about it a little bit more, a 1-1 draw. 1-1 draw for me. So Nottingham Forest 1, Wolves 1 there. And then we've got Bournemouth versus Manchester United. Bournemouth at home. Home advantage. Yeah, okay. Bournemouth are a very, very funny team. You know, if they turn up, they turn up and they mean business. And they've proved that over the years of them being in the Premier League. Bournemouth were winners the last time out, by the way. You know, this is what I mean. This is exactly what I mean. So, and for Man United as well, they've had a very, very poor season. You know, yes, they got a point against Liverpool last weekend, but 12 defeats. 12 defeats for Manchester United. It's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. I'm gonna go very, very bold on this one for this scoreline. I'm gonna say Bournemouth to win this one. I'm gonna say Bournemouth 2, Man United 1. So they were the Saturday fixtures. I'm now moving on to Sunday. So we've got Liverpool, Crystal Palace, 2 p.m. kickoff. The last time these two teams played, Liverpool were winners. Liverpool at home at Anfield. Another team that are fighting for the champions for the title this season. If I'm going to say a scoreline for this one, Liverpool 3, Crystal Palace 1, and then we move on to West Ham versus Fulham, another 2 p.m. kickoff. I actually forgot about this one. The last time these two teams played, Fulham were 5-0 winners. Outrageous, absolutely outrageous. And Fulham are another funny team. Yeah, they beat my team Spurs a few weeks ago, but then they messed up last weekend. Absolutely crazy. Again, scoreline. I can see this being very, very end-to-end, West Ham and Fulham. So a scoreline for this one, a straight-up draw, a 1-1. 1-1 for Fulham and West Ham. And then we move on to Arsenal, another team that are fighting for the title this season and are doing pretty well, I have to say it. And I hate to say it, but it is true. It's true. They've got Aston Villa, who are just behind Spurs, fighting for that final Champions League position, because 5th ain't guaranteed as of yet, by the way. So if I'm going to say a scoreline for this one, and by the way, Aston Villa were 1-0 winners in their last meeting, so this will be a very, very, very interesting one. But Arsenal at home advantage. I'm going to say Arsenal just to edge this one. I'm going to say Arsenal 2, Aston Villa 1. And then we move on to Monday night's game. Chelsea versus Everton, 8 p.m. kickoff. Everton are unbeaten in the last 2. Another surprising one, honestly. When I looked up these stats, when I checked these stats, very, very surprising. Because Everton been poor. They've had a very, very poor season once again. You know, just about scraping a relegation battle 2 seasons running now, honestly. And they're down there again. They're being deducted points left, right and centre. Gaining them, but they're losing them again. It's been absolutely crazy. So for me, if I'm going to say a scoreline for this one, I'm going to say Chelsea just to edge this one. Chelsea 2, Everton 1. So there you have it. There are my predicted winners, losers and drawers this coming weekend. Please have your say in the comment section. And please stay tuned for next weekend. Come on.